You're live.
All right, the meeting will now come to order at 6:06 p.m. Secretary Shelley, would you call the roll?
All righty, calling roll. So Aaron Moore is not here. Colin Mueller.
Here.
I'm here. Joanne Sanders Mosley.
Here.
Mrs. Alexander. Present. Mr. Conti.
Here.
Celia Evers.
Here.
Bernie DeVoe.
Here.
Kimberly Young Wilkins.
Present.
Anne Marie Salmon.
Here.
Melanie Woodward. Here. Bryce Mobley. Tatiana Diaz.
Here.
And Bailey Wall is not present. And Autumn Thurman? Thorman. Okay. Is present.
Excellent. We have a quorum, and we will proceed with the meeting. Our first order of business is approval of the April 18th, 2024 minutes that were previously sent out. Were there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve those minutes by general consent.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We will now move on to public comment. Do we have any public comment this evening?
No one has signed up, and I did not see anyone.
Okay. Seeing we have no public comment, we will move on to our next order of business. We are now excited to have a presentation by the Office of the Human Resources around recruitment and communication strategies.
And I'm excited to be here to present on that. My name is Tatiana Diaz. I've met you all at the last meeting that I attended, but some of you I've had the pleasure of working with personally, like Ms. Commissioner Alexander Mosley. So we're here to talk about our recruitment strategy. The City of Albany is in a recruitment campaign. As many of you guys have seen things posted around the city with our Join Albany campaign, which is our first agenda topic. So these are the topics that we'll be covering in today's presentation. We'll go over the campaign, what we've done as far as events and activities, and then we'll talk about our civil service workshop and what we're doing with employee retention. So in March of 23, we officially launched the Join Albany campaign. There was a lot of back-end work up until the official launch in March. And a lot of the information and specific data on our campaign is included in the information you guys have in your packet today. But prior to our launch, it was important for us to kind of gather information, and we realized that we were in a hiring crisis. After COVID, we had a lot of critical vacancies and not enough employees or candidates applying to fill these vacancies. With some ARPA funding, we were really able to launch an innovative campaign of employee recruitment, retention, and engagement. So as part of the Join Albany campaign, one of the first things we did was kind of rethink about how we tell our stories, how we tell what it is that the city is looking for, what it is that we're looking for people to join Albany to do. We launched a joinalbany.com page, which is a modern and very accessible website. If any of you have gone on this website, you'll notice that a lot of the information you see is in plain language. You don't have to click so many different places to get to where you're looking for. And we really wanted to be able to highlight the City of Albany not only as a top employer, but one of the best cities to live in the country, that's actual data. Part of what we realized as we were gathering information was that people didn't understand what we were talking about. Civil service language is a lot of jargon. If you look at a civil service job description, it'll say job classification, and people have no idea. Not everyone, I won't say they have no idea, but a lot of people were confused by what it was that we were saying. So all of our job postings, when we started posting on Join Albany, were written in simplified language that was easily understandable. We also made an effort to highlight the key positions that we were looking for and kind of put those positions in the forefront. And we realized that in order for us to recruit for jobs, we had to, in that very same way, teach about civil service, what it is, what its benefits are, and why we do it. So as part of our initial strategies to kind of overcome that barrier was have a section on that page, our Civil Service 101 page. And it kind of helps candidates understand civil service and how it interplays with the city's hiring process. It's not something that, the mayor wants us to do, or the Common Council is requiring us to do, or the Commission of Human Rights wants us to give a test. It's something that's required by our Constitution. One of the most important things that we were able to do by having this website was collect information. So now we had data. We understood when people were coming to this page to apply. We understood where they were applying for. As they were looking at things and showing interest in certain positions, they were telling us why they were interested. It also allowed us to engage with candidates, not only at the point of application when you're submitting something, but they were telling us why they were interested in Albany, why they were interested in certain positions, and we were able to have that, not only the data and understanding of our audience, but also be able to talk to them and see what it was that they were looking for us as an employer. And it also allowed us to make decisions based on data. So one of the things that we noticed was that a lot of people were visiting to look for jobs on Mondays and on Fridays. So we were thinking, how do we use that momentum of people having that extra traffic on those days? And usually those would be the days where we would make sure that by Mondays or Fridays, all of our new job postings were up and available. As part of our campaign, so now the reality is that different stimuli are going to attract different people. So people that may be municipal employees or have experience with civil service, they might be comfortable with going to our jobs.albanyny.gov. They understand that when they say classification exempt, that means there's no exam. But this other website really allowed us to engage with a different audience, an audience that wasn't necessarily looking for municipal jobs, and we were able to market ourselves as an employer that's able to have these opportunities in just about every field that they were possibly looking for, and we've continued doing that. So now if you're a social worker, you can get a job with the City of Albany. If you're in marketing, you can get a job with the City of Albany. If you're in communications, you can get a job with the City of Albany, which are all very fresh positions that weren't necessarily things that people that worked in municipalities did. So now we're kind of meeting people there. One of the things that we really focused on was creating a community presence. So we married the digital efforts that you saw online or that you saw when you were on Google, or if you saw a visual ad. We wanted to make sure that there were people behind those efforts. So in addition to increasing our digital footprint, we increased our community footprint. And what we did was, we realized that a lot of the time the city was looking for that lane to be able to present our opportunities. We decided to create our own lane. So in February, we realized that we were always waiting for the MLK job fair. And we're like, there has to be, we have vacancies now that we have to fill, and people are looking for jobs now. So we started having a job fair monthly with the Department of Youth and Workforce Services, and we started at their Clinton Avenue location. We knew that people that go to 175 already knew of opportunities in that building. So we wanted to be somewhere else in our community where, one, we were able to highlight a city location like Clinton Ave. A lot of people didn't know that we had a location on Clinton Ave. So it brought some light to that location, but it also allowed us to create that lane, and people they were expecting us every month. So from Clinton Ave, there wasn't a lot of parking. and our job fair grew from maybe 2 and 3 people coming to 15, 20, 30. We would set up right outside on sidewalks, and then we decided to move our show on the road, and we took it down to 175 Central Ave, just because we were at capacity on Clinton Avenue. You could go back 1 second. We noticed that people started reaching out to us. Oh, I saw you at Clinton Ave, we have this going on, and we were wondering if you guys would be willing to come and host the table at our event. So we just started popping up everywhere and anywhere where people would have us. In addition to that, we started making sure that we had the same type of engagement with our departments, because they are the ones that know what they want people to do, but they also are a reflection of what people could do. So at our Clinton Avenue job fairs, we had the DGS, police department, so we had different departments come and host, considering the positions that were available at the time. This yielded, we also shared things like recruitment in a box with all of our common council members, so it was a call to the council. We want to be present in every ward, because in order for us to meet people where they are, is something that you'll see in a lot of things, we have to be there with the people. It's much more than just that phrase. It requires a physical presence, and that's what we wanted to have. We wanted our community to know that we're there we have these opportunities available, but also if they weren't ready, because we were asking them that, we were willing to help them get ready to join Albany. I don't know if you guys have ever saw a table, we have good stuff now.
You got great stuff.
Thank you. I think we share some of the things that we have going on. We will be looking into those fans. But we did want to give things that represented the city, but that were also useful. This yielded a 40% increase in job applicants or job and exam applications, and we were able to reduce vacancies 25% compared to the previous year.
Which is, I want to just pause, because every other municipality is pretty much going the opposite direction with vacancies, and with the exception of a couple positions we're still struggling with, we have really closed the gap in almost every department.
So we have municipalities asking us, what are you doing? I hear things, I'm seeing things, how can we do what you're doing? And a lot of that is partnership, so, and we'll get to that slide, but we could go to the next one. So one of the things that having the website and being able to collaborate with departments has allowed us is the ability to pivot when there is a change, when there is a need that represents either in our community or within our operations. So the first year of Join Albany was really to brand ourselves, to get ourselves in front of people, to say we're here. Even if you're not necessarily looking for this job, if there's something else you want to do, there's probably a city service that could help you do that. We wanted our office, if you go upstairs, to, instead of you feeling like you were going into a government office, I wanted it to have that community feel. So I think we've been able to do that for people that come into the office or that see us out at events. We've had a lot of great feedback just on the presence of our team and their willingness to help. The second, right now, our focus in the Join Albany campaign is public safety hires. One of the numbers, and this is nationwide, that it's been harder to rebound from post-COVID, has been our public safety, our police officers, our firefighters. So in light of that, one of the things, I've been administering civil service for a long time for the city of Albany, and when COVID happened, we could not hire police and firefighters. You have to hire them from list. It is a requirement by the law. So we really started thinking, how do we plug these vacancies in the future if this was to happen again? So we created our first lateral transfer policies for both police and fire. March of this year, we swore in our first lateral firefighters. November of last year, there was a legislative change that enabled us to recruit police officers from NYPD. That's huge. It's something that, because of how the law was written, we weren't able to do that. And once they announced that we were able to, we immediately got Chief Hawkins, Deputy Chief Batuellos, and we said, we have to stay in front of this because everyone's going to do it. And I knew that because all of us municipalities were always waiting for that chance to be able to pick our officers from NYPD.
That you couldn't do, is there?
There are a few other agencies that are still not allowed to transfer, but because the definition of what a police officer was for New York City Police and what civil service New York State's definition was were different, it took the legislation to change in order for us to do that. That happened in November, and we were on the forefront of getting the legislation changed in November. By December, we had the policy finalized and put before our Civil Service Commission, and we went full force, boots on the ground, literally, even attending recruitment campaigns in New York City. So now we are processing. We have some prospects in line, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to swear in our first police laterals this year. But now there's a pivot again, right? We have this out there. The digital ads, they're going to work for us, which is one of the promising things about having that digital campaign is that you don't have to have the people there. It's happening as we're all sleeping. The information is out there, and we're able to target that audience. But the reality is, no matter how many people are willing to transfer laterally, we have to recruit for police officers. So now the second phase of our public safety hiring and this campaign, the portion of the focus for public safety hiring will now shift to our police officer exam, which is being held in September. So from now, probably until then, you'll see a big push for us looking just to increase our candidates for our police officer exam. When I first started in this office in 2017, we used to sit up to 1,000 candidates for this exam. We're down to under 200 candidates. And that's just not us. That is, all municipalities in New York State are going through this, but this is a nationwide crisis. It's just not our numbers that have not rebounded. So, which means we need help. And it has to be, because at the end of the day, public safety is always our priority. The youth are always our priority. So one of the things that we realized that beyond our SYEP program, there wasn't really a mechanism for us to be able to retain youth employees. You could bring them on for a season, and usually it'll be the summer, or even if they were a seasonal employee or a seasonal youth that was able to work, we couldn't keep them past that 6 months because that's just civil service. So we created a student assistant position, which allows us to, even if you're not in the SYEP program, it allowed us to create a pipeline from that program into our workforce, but it also created opportunity for children that did not want to participate in SYEP. We personally in our office, we know the power of the SYEP program. We currently have a human resources generalist who was an SYEP participant in our office for 4 summers, and now she works for us. So the proof is really in the pudding with this program, and it's reflected here in our office. We have continued to support the Department of Youth and Workforce Planning to increase just the visibility of their program, help them get more enrollment, help them with planning, but the orientation piece. The Office of HR, we attended every single orientation so that I really made a push for children to enroll in the New York State retirement system now.
That is great advice.
It was, I used myself as an example compared to somebody that was in Tier 4. I went around the room and I asked them, what is it that you want to do? I want to play basketball. We might have a job for you in public service. Any job, I kind of showed them that public service can meet your needs. You can join Albany or not even Albany. But in addition to that, there's so many times that people call our office and they say, I was a lifeguard in 2000, and I know that I signed up for retirement and I am a Tier 4. but they did not sign up for
Right.
retirement. So I really explained the importance of signing up now. These benefits are only declining, but I also I kind of put it as an incentive to them, because if you enroll in the New York State retirement system as part of this program, when you're done with the program, you can take your money back and you'll also get interest on it. So I kind of showed them not only is it an incentive to you financially, in the long run, maybe you'll never come back to the city or to public service, but there's a good possibility that you are, and it would be a benefit to you to join this system now. It's not going to cost you anything. It's just going to hold your place. And we'll always have a place for you to come back to the city of Albany. We also help them with recruiting local businesses and things like that as well. Like I said before, we had to kind of marry our Join Albany campaign with some actual manpower. So last year, we attended almost 40 job fairs with a very small team. And we now have positions in our office that are dedicated to recruitment. So it's not a person that does civil service, that attends a job fair sometimes. There's someone actively sourcing opportunities, actively engaging with other nonprofits and other community organizations in order for us to not only have a bigger presence, but in order for us to partner and do things within the community. As part of our recruitment, we waived all civil service exam fees last year. We also expanded the city's 55A program, which is something that I'm hoping everyone here is aware of. So the city's 55A program allows qualified applicants with certain disabilities to bypass the testing. We took that from 4 titles to over 30 titles last year. So we wanted to make sure that positions that were considered entry level, not just clerical, when the law is written to allow entry level. So we sourced additional positions, not only within the city, because we also do civil service for our agencies, but also with our agencies, and we're able to get that from 4 titles to over 30 titles. In 24, I have a goal of beating our 38. We're already at 26 events. I've attended events with some people here. Anyone that reaches out to our office, if there is a way that we can participate in an event, we will, even if it is just sending something out if someone cannot physically be there. One of the things that having someone that is committed to recruitment in our office was that this person was out really taking the pulse. So when ShopRite closed, this person in my office, and I'll give Belinda her credit, she reached out to ShopRite and she said, I see you guys are closing and there's going to be a lot of impacted employees. Can we set up a job fair right at your location? So they invited us, and then they kicked us out when the news arrived, but they kicked us out just to their sidewalk. But what it was we realized there was a need, that our community and people were hurting, and that not only could we help them by giving them a job, but for those, we obviously can't hire everyone. We have residency requirements, we have a limited number of vacancies, but we can help everyone in their job search process, along with the Department of Youth and Workforce Services. We did the same when we saw the College of St. Rose was closing. We try to create these opportunities to showcase, but also to kind of meet our community where they are. This is my favorite part. So I love something that civil service has done a lot for me, and the basis of the merit system is that you are able to move ahead based on your own merit and fitness without necessarily knowing someone. But as we were engaging with the community and our departments and people applying for jobs, we realized people did not understand what civil service was, why it was a requirement, if they had to take a test, when they didn't have to take a test. So we launched the Civil Service Workshop. We meet every first Monday of the month because, like I said, people are looking for jobs on Monday. So if you're motivated on Monday, I want you to come down to my workshop and learn about civil service. So the presentation I do a presentation on civil service, what it means, why it's required, and then I show people our website, both of our websites, but I also source other public service opportunities, because if I can encourage someone to join public service, whether it be Albany County, New York State, Rensselaer, like I said, we can't hire everyone, and I think really the value is highlighting public service as a whole within the capital region, and us staying up front as that innovative municipality that's continuing to move that needle. So at the workshop, in addition to learning about civil service, we assist everyone one-on-one. So I'm sitting with someone, my staff, we're very diverse. I speak Spanish, I have other people that speak several different languages in our office, so we're able to help a wide audience. Our first workshop was held in December here at City Hall, but we kept expanding beyond 7 attendees. So we took our show on the road down to 175 Central Ave. Albany County has expressed interest in partnering with us to do this so that they actually attended some of our workshops. At the workshop, depending on what needs are presented by our candidate or our attendees, we have them work with the Department of Youth and Workforce Services. So if you say, listen, I have not worked in 20 years, this is my resume, we'll have someone go over your resume, maybe do mock interviews, dress for success, whatever those referrals are, we do that. We've had people present with housing needs that we try to help them with. So there's a lot of different, it creates another opportunity, not only for us to highlight our vacancies and what we do as a city, but to be able to plug people in with what other services the city is doing. I will say my little workshop, we're gonna take it big, and the Department of Labor is already advertising. We have guest speakers now that come and speak at our workshops. So we're teach one, reach one. That's really what we're trying to do. Retention. So we can't ask people to join Albany if there's not some reason for them to come and stay. So we are, as an administration, we're looking for any possible way that we can bring additional benefits to being a city employee. Things like our 41J, which allows employees to receive service credits for unused sick days. We'll be participating in paid family leave. We've become preferred employers with places like the Gallery Housing. We now have a partnership with Marist and Russell Sage for discounted tuition. The reality is, for us to create an inclusive workforce, we all need to know what that means. So we have been at the forefront of DEI training for all city employees. We also know that watching a video sometimes is not enough. So that means for some people, in-person trainings are more efficient, and so we're facilitating those. We're making sure that we are growing our employees and training them based on the needs of our department. So we have a lot of supervisors that have grown with us. In order for them to continue growing, we have to show them how to supervise and how to kind of become active in a different role in our workforce. I know there's a lot of, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the New York State HELPS program, which is allowing the state to bypass that examination requirement. We have submitted for our participation in the HELPS program as well. And we're going to continue doing things like implementing an employee discount portal, so that our employees are able to get additional discounts at not just Best Fitness in places like this, but nationwide. And then we're always looking for ways for us to come together as a workforce to talk about what we do, but also to have fun. So one of the things that the Office of Human Resources, we took over the CDPHP Workforce Challenge planning, and we took that from 3 and 4 employees. Last year we had 40-something employees, and this year we had 60-something employees. So people will come if you give them something to come to that is worth doing. So now it did not cost them their registration, we covered it. In addition, we're gonna give you a nice t-shirt, and you're gonna go out, we're gonna have a good time afterwards as well. And if you can't run and you can't walk, you can get together with us afterwards. So we're always looking for ways to grow our own and keep us engaged in what we do. At the end of the day, we're all here to provide a public service, and that's what we kind of lead with. We also launched an employee orientation program. It's been in the works ever since I started working in the office for probably over 10 years. And we saw the planning and the years. I was involved with years of planning, and I'm like, this is just never gonna go. So this year we said, we're just gonna do it, and we'll make it just like our workshop, just like Join Albany. It's an evolving process. But our intention was to be able to welcome city employees with our city mission and why we're really here. And like I said, it is to provide a city service, but also so that when our employees come on day one, they know what their rights are. They know what rights we're going to protect, what their benefits are. We're going to be able to explain that. And then they know who our HR office is, so that if you have a problem, if I'm someone that you saw at orientation, or if I started with you on the same day, you're gonna have the camaraderie with you. I still remember people that I first started with. So it's something that we're going to continue to grow, and keep finding ways to retain our employees. And that's so much what we've been doing for the last year or so.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that. Are there any questions from any of the commissioners?
Can we be included with the workforce?
Oh, I was going to, but one,
we wanted you to know that.
we absolutely can, but also if anybody wants a recruitment in a box, we will send that to each commissioner. If there is any event that we can support that you know of, that an organization you partner with, that it's something in your ward, whatever that is, please invite us. We are always looking, and we're also looking to we're going to beat our number, but we're looking to blow that number out the water. So thank you all for having me today.
I have a question before you go. So being that our program does workforce development with people, mostly Black people, one of my things is what happens inside the room when people go for an interview, right? So do you get those, do you get something back from people like they looked at me, it's the way they looked at me, the way they spoke to me, their choice words, stuff like that, because workforce development, we're getting that.
Yes.
We're getting that, and we find it very challenging to help people and talk to the people on the other inside of the door.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things we noticed that we have to teach people how to interview.
Yeah.
So in July, we have an interviewing 101 that we're doing for anyone that does any hiring. The Office of HR, we don't do the hiring, our departments do, but we also realize that they need support in that so that they know, obviously, the legalities of it, but also so that when you're interviewing, you get a feel for the person and not just what your strengths and what your weakness is. Tell me about. So we're very mindful of that, and we want to make sure that our candidates feel seen, heard, respected. We know that just because I know me and you have a lot of discussions about barrier to entries, we sat on a panel together at what was the church? The Serve, where we presented on how us as a city are trying to eliminate barriers to entry. We are a second chance employer, and one of the things that I do at that civil service workshop, a lot of people, they'll say, oh, Tatiana, but I got a felony. That has nothing to do with your hiring process, because the clean slate law says, so a lot of it is also educating people about what their rights are and what the law says, and that people shouldn't be asking them certain questions and feeling confident in that. But yes, as a city, we are being very mindful on how we are vetting for our candidates. So we will be doing interviewing 101. We do have the information available on LinkedIn and things like that. So the information and the training is out there for our managers, but we want to make sure that City of Albany message is getting out and that people are being seen but also respected.
We are also encouraging all the departments to do panel interviews.
Yep.
So it's not, anyone has their blind spots when they're interviewing, but that way there's kind of a mix of people making that decision. There's several people kind of observing the interview.
And I think now it's different from prior years where you had one person that interviewed you, you know, and that one person, they said and did, reacted in any manner that you wanted to. So I think it's better to have more than one person in the room when you're interviewing.
Yep, and I think almost all of our departments are now panel
Push everybody
interviewing.
to do that.
Okay, that's great.
Quick question, because you said you had a 25% reduction in vacancy. I assume it's not across the board, so are there particular departments where you have more of a challenge? I assume maybe public safety is one, but
Always.
And which are the ones that you're most successful?
For public safety, typically, fire's actually doing pretty well. It's really
Almost
police
100%
officers.
staff.
And then, I would say some of the highly mid-career technical professional, I'm sometimes struggling on my IT professionals. I have vacancies for 3 years. You know, sometimes there'll be specific attorney, maybe with like a very specific area they're looking
Right.
at, and those often take longer. Sometimes that's residency. People already have children or family, and they own a house somewhere else, especially when you get to more mid-career, and they're not, don't want to come.
Yeah, that's my other question in terms of residency. To what extent is that?
I think that is
Create a
one of
barrier.
the challenges for me, the technical professional, like IT specialist, GIS specialist, was open for almost 2 years, and all of the candidates that I was very close on, the residency was a problem because I didn't own a house.
Yeah.
But, we actually just found someone who's gonna start in a couple of weeks. So but it typically, it kind of changes.
And where we see turnover too is also, we train a lot of people to move on to other places.
Yeah.
It's very true of our attorneys, it's very true of our like administrative staff. You work in our,
Is it salary competitive issue?
I don't think now as
The
much.
non-union pay study that we did 2 years ago really opened that up a lot, especially because now you're hired, you're no longer hired at the salary of your predecessor. Sometimes that was high or low, depending on the seniority level of the person who left. So having now those wage ranges, so we can kind of be fair across the organization, look at your resume, look at your job duties, that's helped a lot.
I have a quick question. Have you reached out to the city school district at Albany High to do recruitment with those seniors?
Yep, Lizzie Simmons, yep,
Okay.
yes, yep. So we've been at different Albany High School events. We participate different youth events, and we had a concentrated effort last year, towards the end of last year, to expand our just emailing and outreach database. So we went through, actually noted different places. We went through and we added different Department of Social Services, different job training programs, most of the school districts, public and community colleges. So we really tried to expand. We did churches, any type of cultural organizations. We went to Black Fest, we've been at Latins, everything we've tried to be there and present for.
Or do you, I'm not thinking about recruitment, I am thinking about recruitment, but like a steady workforce, because, is there any way to do some kind of a bridging when they graduate, having a job, not like, almost like sitting there waiting for them? Are they allowed to come into certain positions? They're a steady force right there, not everybody's gonna go to college. So not just getting the information out there, but really working with maybe a small core of seniors that are graduating, and there's also super seniors who actually are now in the 5th and 6th year of high school, where they could go to school part-time, just finish up the gym class or the health class, or whatever requirement, but they could actually still work.
Yep, so the follow-up to our student assistant program, and something that made our budget book last year, is that we want to formalize an intern program that would speak to that particularly. That wouldn't just be led by, oh, this department might want to have an intern, but have an actual program with some actual goals that we're measuring and making sure that we're on track to accomplish.
And,
That's why we brought it here, we want ideas.
Yes.
And if you think of something after,
in 1976, I was involved in a state program with Albany High School.
Okay.
And I only took 2 classes in my high school year, and then I worked at the Office of Mental Hygiene, under civil service for the state. So, those type of things help people out, as well as the job sharing. I'm doing 3 days this week, someone else is doing the other 2 in a full-time position. You know, I think nowadays we have to think outside the box, right? Because there's something for everyone and everybody's different, and people are looking for a couple of days a week, and someone else is looking for maybe that 3 days a week. So I just think that, you know, we have that in our office now. I've hired people to work 2 days this week, and then somebody else takes the rest of the shift and works 3 days. So, and it works very, very well, you know, and, so it creates a great atmosphere in your office, you know, and everybody.
That's a great idea.
Gets what they want.
And I was thinking more of that, where the high schooler would have, like, they go to school in the morning, and then they work in the afternoon, because we used to have something.
Yeah, I was a part of that program. That's how I got into it.
Yeah. It was very common. And when I was superintendent, we actually did something with OGS. So we had, I think, 20 students from Albany High worked summer, and those who wanted a job in the fall got a job in the fall. I think out of the 20, maybe 5 went to the state, and entry level, but they were like level 5, like not the lowest, but the next one up, and they got jobs as soon as they graduated, which I was just like, oh my God, this is wonderful.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah, and so, they had the funds, they did the training, and so, I'm hoping that there could be something like that.
Yeah.
Where you're like just like you're guaranteed a job. Those other things go in there as far as the requirements, the soft skills, making sure it's the right fit, the area matches their skill set, but they're kind of like guaranteed a job.
And if you have if there's someone that's already doing something like that, tell me the name so I could connect, see what they're doing, how their program is.
I'll go back up to OGS, because I can talk to somebody who I think knows the connection for that. But they literally recruited from Albany High. We had between 18 and 20 students. They went up for the summer jobs, and I believe 5 of them actually got jobs afterwards. So, and again, they did it again the next year. And so it was wonderful, because I felt like we accomplished something, getting them a job as soon as they got out of high school.
Yeah, but they had that when I was in school.
And we do have a lot of that, but not in this formalized programming type of way, which is something that we've always thought of. Just like I said, we have an SYEP participant that became an employee in our office. And there are a lot of people that have gone through different internship programs and end up staying at the city or moving on to different places. But we do want to formalize an internship program with some of these type of
that are those not so norm things, you know. But
one of the last things I want to let you know, Richard, when you asked about vacancies, one of the other success stories we forgot to highlight was we used to have a real issue getting CDL drivers for like our garbage trucks and like that. But we started in HR, part of that ARPA grant we won for the Joint Albany. We now have a CDL school we work with. We RFP that out, so we send our, laborer ones at DGS and the more entry-level titles on the clock to go to full-on paid CDL driver school, and then, if they graduate and get the license, they can move up into higher titles, higher pay, and then obviously that's a great credential wherever they want to go in their career. So that has helped us. Very expensive, and a lot of the training programs, you have to be unemployed to go through it, and or you have to pay out of pocket. So that was, I'd say, instrumental, the work you did with DGS to getting like those titles kind of shored up with. Wow. Yeah.
Thank you again for all the hard work you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to old business, we'll move to the 2024 Human Rights Recognition Reception and Forum. I can give you an update. Doris should be sending you guys the contract. I left her another voice message. We do have a number of nominations, which we should probably discuss.
Yeah, I can stop streaming. We can go, if you're ready, where you are, to executive.
Yep. In order to discuss the nominees, I will entertain a motion to move into executive session. Moved by Mr. Wilkins. Is there a second? Thank you. It has probably been properly moved and seconded to go into executive session so that we may discuss the nominees.